Welcome to Chik, the podcast where the girl with many titles talks about life, the good and the bad, and everything around it. We're going to sit, chat, share life stories and experiences, from business to relationship. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chik podcast. You are joined today by G.
Hello.
Hi, nice to see you.
How are you?
Look at you, you asked me how I am first. When we do our podcast, one, you normally don't even ask me how I am until I remind you. So the fact you've asked me how I am, you've been sat thinking about that for ages, haven't you?
No.
Yes, yeah.
Just came in the mad.
Look at the smile on your face. But yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Can't
Lies.
complain.
Brilliant. Okay, so if you are new here, we normally start with our challenge of the week or tip of the week. Middle, we'll check in and see how we are doing, and we will end with a win of the week. But today's podcast is basically just trying to get to know us a little bit more, because I find that with social media, you get little snippets of our day, and people assume, because we do stuff together now, people assume that they know you really well. Whereas I thought, so we've not checked in with what the other person's going to say. We're going to do 2 random facts about each other so that you guys can get to know us. And then, yeah, we'll have a little chat about that. Are you ready with your 2 facts?
Yep.
Because I asked you earlier.
I'm ready. I remembered.
Okay, perfect. So that's how we're going to start. So in that case, let's get straight into it, and let's go with your challenge of the week or tip of the week.
I guess my challenge of the week is trying to, well, I've started going back to therapy, so the challenge of the week is to try and implement some of the things that we discuss in therapy.
Yeah.
I guess just trying to be more conscious of how I feel and expressing that a bit more.
Yeah. Nice. I think that's a good challenge of the week as well, because if that's on your mind, you'll never be perfect, but at least you'll do it. Nice. I think my challenge of the week is taking things a step at a time. I think I'm the type of person that, especially now, I'm changing some of the work I do with one particular client, but I have to go, even though they're a client, I still have to go through like an onboarding process and make sure that everything I've been putting into the business so far this year in terms of systems works. But my thing is, when I'm excited about the work and I know the person, I want to skip past some of those things, and I don't want it to be at the detriment now of the team, because the wider team's getting involved. So yeah, my challenge is 1, still staying excited, but 2, actually following a process and not getting bored by it. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Brill. Okay, so do you want to go first with your first fact?
Yep.
Go on.
My first fact is that you have terrible taste in music.
What?
Yep. And incidentally, you never sing harder than whenever there's a bit of Celine Dion on the old boombox.
Or Adele.
Definitely Celine is what I've noticed, the number 1. But your music taste is awful.
But excuse you, so I don't think my music taste is awful, because I like a wide
awful.
genre of music.
You don't?
I listened to, you got in yesterday and you were like, Clavish. Why have you got Clavish, sorry. All right, I don't need to know the names, but I had him on, not because of you, even though you think it's because of you. It wasn't.
It was. Because you'll do that too. You'll play something, I'll be like, oh, how do you know this? Knowing full well that it's come from me.
No, but I know he didn't come from you, because I think he came from Mlenga more than you.
No way.
Because again, you and Mlenga have similar taste in music. So, like Phil Collins is dad's. Like, I love such a wide genre, from Justin Bieber to Eminem to, fair enough, I might not be a huge reggae fan.
Yeah, but you mostly listen to terrible pop music.
Is it pop?
Yes. Mostly listen to terrible pop music. Like when we're in the car, I never turn around and go, oh, that's good.
Excuse you.
When it's your choice, and when I see Apple Music come up, my heart sinks.
Yeah, but you create playlists. So if I was to create a playlist for me and you, I genuinely think I'd be able to get a because you now like Noah Khan. Where did Noah Khan come from?
From
Mostly Chloe, but
no, from a guy that I watch shorts of on YouTube.
you are such a liar.
It's not a lie. Like, you didn't introduce me to his music. I discovered the song, and you were like, "Oh," I think you commented on the fact that it was on a playlist that I made.
But I'd been listening to him, and Chloe had him on when they were last here. So you didn't.
Well, I didn't hear it.
That's what I mean. You don't always register.
No.
So even there was when we were in the car the other day, a Stormzy song came out that was a really old one. I think you just go, I'm not going to like her music, so you don't listen to some of the stuff that comes on. Whereas
Yeah, but that's a rarity, and also I love grime, so because I can't stand his later music.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Like, and I've still actually never got around to listening to his first album, but from what I've heard, I probably would enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you would.
And I like him. Like, I think he's a brilliant guy. He does a lot of cool stuff. The interview with Louis Theroux was brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
But generally, the music that you play in the car is awful.
I like music I can sing my little heart out to, especially when I'm driving. But it'll be different. So, like, if you listen to my gym playlist is there's one Destiny's Child song, and then it's like rap.
What era? When
Probably
there
more
was
modern.
4 of them, or when there's 3?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't even check.
Because the first album, The Writings on the Wall, is a classic, which I actually have a CD of.
But you are also really into music, so you're very specific.
So you could argue that I'm best placed to say that you have terrible taste in music.
No, you're not best placed to say it because you're a very specific person. You know what you like.
Yeah, but I love so much different types of music. Like, the album I listened to most last year was
Pompey.
So I'm always open to new music.
Would you have known Pompey if it wasn't for me?
Probably not. However, who has listened to him more?
But that's because your playlist, you have control. I drive more. You have control because you're the passenger princess.
Yeah, but sometimes you get in and you're like, right, it's my music today.
Yeah, because sometimes like I said, sometimes I just want that.
To listen to your terrible songs.
No, sometimes I want songs that will make me feel a particular emotion. So whilst you're trying to figure out your emotions, I know what songs bring out whatever in me. Like earlier on, Shawn Mendes came up, and a Beyonce song that I've not heard for ages. And I was like, oh yeah, bangers. That's why sometimes I just let Google Home choose music. Sometimes it's terrible, and sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, it reminds me of stuff that I do also like, because you do have to curate it. And I was saying to you yes the other day before that because I don't listen to like the new music playlist and I don't curate my music as much, it then doesn't suggest the great music. Whereas I've been listening to more French music recently. So when I was driving down to Dublin, it came up with suggestions. It was just one after the other of French music, and some of it was great, some of it was terrible. But it was a mixture between French rap, which you introduced me to a guy recently,
MC Solar.
Yeah, and then some
of it. And who else?
I can't remember.
Singer, wife of former French president.
Oh, I can't remember her name, but
Carla Bruni.
There you go. But I've not listened to her music. I've not.
So you can't say that my taste isn't broad.
No, I'm not saying your taste isn't broad. I'm just saying I'm more open because some of your music's not.
I think we're as open. In fact, I'm probably more open. I probably listen to more genres and know more about different types of genre than you do.
Okay, so we've worked out that we don't like the exact same music, but we do. Do you know what? From when we first started dating, I said we are a different flavour of the same person. And this is that exact thing of we both like a wide range of music. You just don't like the bits that I like to focus on. And like I said, those are the bits that make me feel an emotion. Because like that Barbara, what's her name? Voila. I've had that on what I've been reading one day to the point where I seem to have conditioned my mind to picture the scenes I've been reading because I had it on repeat, which is really funny, but that's like bringing out some new emotion. So I also listen to music, trying to figure out other things. So I guess even how we listen to music is going to be different. So I get why you wouldn't like some of my music.
Okay.
Okay, actually, this links into my first one. And what most people wouldn't know is G is a music producer. So whilst we are talking about music, you have produced some music that we've used in the business and for my content. Actually, we use it for our content.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, that's
Our
good.
podcast.
Oh, yeah. You also done the intros for my podcast, our podcast. Yeah.
Lots of our videos.
Yeah, that's true. So I find that really interesting because I guess when you are talking about music, the difference between me and you is I was a singer. You've learnt to play instruments on your own. Like we could form a little band. I would actually genuinely love you to play. There's a that song that you play by Pena. What's his name?
McCartney and Stevie Wonder.
No, the Chance Pena song.
Oh, I am not who I was or whatever it's called.
Yeah, but to me,
something like that.
Because you've learned that on the guitar, I absolutely love it when you play that. So so he's a music producer. He's taught himself to play the guitar, ukulele, bass, bits of keyboard. To be fair, because you can do What else do we have in there?
Some organy stuff on the keys.
Oh, there you go.
Drum.
You've introduced a lot of other musical elements to
Harmonica.
this house. Harmonica. Oh yeah, that Eliza loves.
Melodica.
But yeah, your musical talents are amazing.
Thanks.
But really exciting as well because like that song will be played at our wedding, and you'll keep working away. You actually did try to teach me the guitar as well, and you always say about my nails, but like I said, hurry up and propose, and then I'll cut them.
Okay.
Moving on. Excuse you. You should go. Yeah, it's all right. Right. We'll do a midway check-in. So, how are you feeling?
Right now.
Mhm.
Okay.
And what would you rate yourself out of 10?
5.
5? That's not too bad.
5 to 5.5.
Okay.
Because I know we're going to get fed.
So it'll go up.
Probably.
So again, sorry for those of you that don't know, so G rates your moods from 0 to 10, and that's a good check-in for me to know where you are and how things are. So whilst you're a 5.5 or 5.5 because you're going to get fed, you've talked a little bit about being back in therapy. How are you finding that process so far?
It's been good. I've had two sessions out of 6, and sort of exploring other avenues of different therapy. I guess it's good just to get that professional setting, and I guess I find it easier to open the door into all that in that environment.
Yeah.
Because it feels like that's where it's done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it makes it a little easier. I mean, not a lot easier, but a little easier to then, I guess, talking about what I talked about in the sessions immediately afterwards is a good segue into talking about it more widely.
Yeah, that's true. Nice. How am I feeling? I don't know what number I'd give myself, but I'd say I'm feeling generically quite good.
You mean generally?
What's the difference between generically and generally? So this is something he always does. You're always correcting me.
I suppose the easiest way to explain it is, in your head when you go to say the word generic, you mean general.
But what's the difference?
We'll say like a generic brand of something would be like when you just buy like a box of painkillers rather than buying like a branded one. Right. You're buying the generic version of it. So you're not saying you generically feel okay. You're saying you generally feel okay.
Okay. I would love to note down how many times you correct the things that I say in a day.
Not that often.
It feels like it's this morning. It felt like it's quite a lot.
Well, especially when you say less, when you mean fewer. But everybody does that.
Yeah, that one's not going to change. So generally, I do feel quite good. Like I said, I feel like...
You seem pretty buoyed up by the business meeting you had on Friday.
Yeah, I think that was a reminder that the right people... Because there's been a bit of turbulence within the business, and that was a reminder that the right people will always find their way to me and to us. And it's not that it's always going to be a simple thing, but to take a trip down to Dublin, to drive, to drive in the city centre, I thought it was going to be like London. The fact I survived that without having a meltdown and then spent the day eating, chatting about business, life, catching up. It was just, I think when I look at, because we talked about the fact that you can't. Is there such thing as a work-life balance? There is, but it's dependent on who you are as a person. So I was saying that for me, for example, whilst you don't care if I'm sat in the evening doing some work whilst we've got a movie on or a series on, which is how we get through so much. To be fair, we always get through movies anyway, but you're not the type of person that would make me feel really guilty about that. But it doesn't mean that I don't keep in mind that there's a time and a place for our time and for work time.
Like when I said watching The Sopranos, that I'm not constantly going to catch you up on what you missed when you're doing this, looking at your phone.
But have I been?
No, but
although I don't
to be
remember.
said.
I don't even remember you saying that.
Yeah. And did you not notice watching those movies last night? I kept going, look.
I know, but then I was like, most of the time I was looking. I was like, why does he keep telling me to look? Because I am looking.
Yeah, because I tell you to look when I know there's something coming up that you're going to want to see or need to see as part of the movie.
But I agreed to watching Aliens because the first one, I was barely on anything.
Alien 3.
I was barely on anything. Because,
No. But I'm just saying, generally speaking, that I'll often go, look, and that's just me simply saying there's a bit here you're going to want to pay attention to. But with The Sopranos, I had to draw the line.
I honestly don't even remember you saying that. But I don't think I've been too bad.
I think my exact words were, this cannot continue.
And I've just heard something completely different. I'm just in my own little la-la world. But I guess that in terms of how I'm feeling, it's also understanding that I don't have to have everything figured out right now. So we are going through that process of working together, working more together, and seeing what that looks like versus the way it was before. It was just, it's still fun, but we're going out like Tuesdays. The past few Tuesdays, we've done something outside of the house, and it's been very specific. Like I've still managed to get a bit of content, but it's been about us. So I think that I'm trying to find ways to find that balance between work and life. But this last week for me was Sunday. What did we do? Did we leave the house on Sunday? Oh, no, Sunday I went and recorded a podcast with Jess. So that was work, but it wasn't too bad.
Because we were out on the Saturday night at the short film as well.
Yeah. And then Tuesday we went to see the John Lavery exhibit.
Which was incredible.
Which it was. Wednesday night was movie night. Can't remember what we did Thursday. Friday I was in Dublin. Saturday we went to see a play. So again...
Vection, wasn't that what it was called?
Yeah, with my friend Catherine.
Head Rush Productions, wasn't that what it was called?
Yeah. But I think...
Which was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
It was like... I was thinking about it. You don't often see sci-fi in a play in the theatre.
Yeah. I thought that, because I texted in the group chat and I just said, oh, congratulations. And then, like, you were amazing. But then she messaged back and she said, oh, there were a couple of technical issues. And I was like, the only thing I picked up on was when the mic turned itself back on, which was minor. However, it was amazing and it left us, we were talking about things, because for me and you, for anyone that does watch our movie reviews, I'm always looking for something romantic. You love sci-fi. That was a good mix of comedy, sci-fi, like everything we would look for in something, but then in a play.
I think it did what the theatre does really well.
Yeah.
Like, it was entertaining first, but also thought-provoking as well.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the theme of it, underlying theme, was about our relationships with technology and how that affects our relationships in the real world.
Yeah. So interesting. But all of that, I guess, with that week, I've also gone back to sleeping through the night. Or even if I do wake up once to go to the toilet, I go back and I fall asleep. So I feel like I'm at the point where, again, it might not be forever. There still might be a bit of turbulence, but it was just a nice balance. So I think generally I'm good. And I just need to keep myself in that mindset of it's okay to be imperfect. Things will work out and things will get there. So yeah, but I guess that's also a massive bit of credit to you, because you keep me well fed. And if I wasn't being well fed, I wouldn't have the energy that I do. I even went back to the gym. Like, there's a lot of stuff that you do to support me that makes me feel like when people, like this client we're talking about, he talked about me focusing on one thing because my personality type, I get loads of ideas and I want to try them. And he was asking me, how are you controlling that? And I'd said, well, you're one of those people. And I've been able to siphon things off to understand myself, to know that some things I do just want to be generic and I'm multi-passionate, but in some areas I do want to be specific, and but I think that goes in business and in life. So I'm starting to see how I'm getting that balance kind of there. And then we'll see my parents today. So across the board, we've ticked off the family stuff, but in a way that's not been overwhelming. Nice. Okay, next fact.
So, although I do most of the cooking, you're a good cook.
Thanks.
You mean roast chicken leg?
That wasn't even my best.
It was good though.
Ah, I wasn't expecting that. Because right, let's tell you them a story.
About the time that you burnt the enchima?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
Stop talking about that. I didn't burn the enchima. You're ridiculous. He needs to learn how to make enchima. No, they're baked beans.
What baked beans?
When we're having beans on toast. So me and G. So we'll now try and figure out what we want to eat in the weeks. So our system is, I decide what we're going to eat for 2 weeks. You go over it and go, I agree or I don't agree, because then I'm done thinking about it. And one of our favourite meals is beans on toast, and I like beans and egg on toast. So we were on the phone to mum and dad, and they saw what we were eating, and my mum was like...
No, they asked what we were eating, and we told them beans on toast, and your mum disappointedly asked, was that your choice?
Because
you're the bad influence.
But it seems to be, there's this notion that I'm a bad influence, I don't cook, and I don't know how to cook. And it's like, no, I just don't enjoy cooking very much. If I'm in the kitchen, I'll have music on. That's what makes me get through it, or I'll be creating content. Whereas you enjoy, like, the stuff you enjoy, I'm like, that would make me want to unalive myself or get punched in the face. I'd rather that.
I guess it's kind of mindful that you're just chopping away and putting things into wee bowls, and
just even saying that stresses me out.
Getting all the spices lined up. And
okay, so you like my roast chicken. I'll actually make you a proper roast chicken. And anything else that you like?
You do good beans and greens. Pasta bake.
Yeah, I like my pasta dishes.
You've not really made much else, to be fair.
Yeah, I was thinking that. It's been a while.
Maybe
I made you fried rice.
Oh, yeah.
Like the other type of fried rice.
Yeah.
All right, well, I might do it in the future then. I'll get you to decide something that you want to try. And I'll have to probably make a list of stuff that I'm happy to cook. And then, I know there's a potato one with like spinach and the stuff I like, it's with cream. Cream and cheese.
I'm not so big on like creamy based dishes.
Yeah, I've seen. Whereas I am. So if I'm cooking, like you love rice, and your version of rice and beans is different to my version of rice and beans, because my rice and beans would be like the African tradition.
Yeah, mine's like that, like a Persian dish.
Yeah.
Which had like lentils and beans and stuff in it. It's just delicious.
Yeah, it is. And you put raisins in, although you forgot them last time.
I did. And
that stressed me out.
And either almonds or peanuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
It's just a good whole meal in one. And you can have some chicken on the side if you want it, but it doesn't really need it.
No, it
or
doesn't.
Like a wee like chapati or something, or some kind of bread, but again, doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. Okay. Final one. Do you know what? One of the things that I don't think most people, we've talked about this before, but don't realise. So G studied psychology at uni, has a degree in psychology, was a counsellor as well, but is terrible at knowing his feelings.
I told you the other day, I'm a good active listener.
But do you know what? I think when me and you first started dating, all I heard was, I studied psychology at uni and I've worked as a counsellor. And I was like, tick, ding, ding,
that's
ding.
On you.
That is on me. And I heard, here's a man that will completely know how to communicate and everything's going to be easy enough.
But I never said that.
No, I know you didn't say that.
If anything, I probably said the opposite.
No, I don't think you said anything. Because I would have registered that.
Okay.
But I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I think that what I've noticed in our relationship is the work I've done in therapy over the last few years has made it easier for me to understand you more and where you are and where we want to be. So whilst I now understand that you are a great active listener, because you've always been really good with, like, you tell me to cry a bit too much.
Or if you're about to cry at something like in a movie, I'll go, oh, it's sad, isn't it?
With a big smile on your face. That's what I love. But there've been plenty of times I've come home and I've literally just cried into you and you've just hugged me as I cried. And I think you deal with hearing me when it's, especially when it's to do with me, well, it's just when it's to do with you struggle with that. And I think that's something that and this is the point of this podcast. When people look at someone's relationship online, they will see all these good things and be like, oh, geez, so good at communicating and whatever else. But I think it's very easy to look at your situation and assume that
someone else's is better.
Yeah. No, and not saying I think Az is amazing. In terms of how we are, I haven't felt like this about another person, but I also have never been in this position where I know I can stand up for myself, what I believe in, what I want out of life, but also my expectations of you as a person. So I think it's just good to remember that where you look at things online and think that everything's hunky-dory, it doesn't mean that behind closed doors, because you are dealing with that. And the whole point of healing is it brings up things that sometimes you don't actually want to deal with, but your brain's going, well, actually, now's the time, and I've been there. And don't get me wrong, there's still stuff that I guess have I come to terms with it or not? I don't know. Stuff I've put to bed that I might eventually have to deal with in that situation, in that setting that you've talked about. But for now, it works for us, and it works quite well. So I do think, yes, you still have a bit of a way to go in terms of communicating your feelings, but how you do communicate them, your love languages, I know you don't like that term, but you're an acts of service person. And those things that people see every day, like my cup of tea, you cooking, like those are things that I appreciate as a person, I love as a person. So it's not that you don't know how to communicate your feelings altogether. It's just...
I'd rather not.
Yeah. You'd rather do it through...
stoicism.
Yeah. Perfect. That's interesting. Nice. How do you feel?
All right.
Right. Okay. So let's end with win of the week.
I guess similarly, going to therapy is the win of the week. Yeah.
Nice. I'd say my win of the week, because we've started in the evenings just saying what our favourite part of like the day's been. I think that's, for me, I love that because we get to go to bed on something positive, but also so much can happen in a day that you don't realise, that you go through so many emotions. So to pick out one thing and think about one thing, you then go, oh, I forgot about X, Y, Z, or your partner to point out something like, oh, you said this earlier. Yeah, I think that's a great win because one, it's me and you bonding, but two, it's a way to practice gratitude, but also see the recurring themes of where we are happy in life. And for both of us at the moment, a lot of that, even if it's not specifically together, it's still something to do with us in general. And so I like that there's always that reminder that me and you are in a good place, but also we've got our own stuff going on. That's nice. Brilliant. Okay, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Thank you for joining me on this and for all the bits that you do, because I appreciate it. I find it fun, even if sometimes it's stressful.
No probs.
You guys, please keep liking, subscribing, follow us on our page, follow our podcast, Black and White Thinking, and yeah, just tune in 1 week for the Black and White Thinking podcast, and in 2 weeks for the Chik Chat podcast. Well, thanks.